popcorn and about 10,000 pounds of sugar solution. It's 23.5 feet high. The old record was 20 feet. And it was Guru's idea to have Krishna at the top. And of course, it's totally by Guru's grace that we did this. There were more than 50 boys working on it for over 2,000 hours altogether, man hours. And Asadari, Hamagni, Kavalia, Vishwash, and Papaha were the organizers, but so many people worked day and night. So this is the record. If we could all please sing happy birthday to Guru.
just happened to notice that there's a record for catching the most number of grapes in a person's mouth in 1 minute. And you have to be 15 feet away, which is the distance between, in basketball, between the foul line and the basket. So, and there's a guy who's become famous. He calls himself Steve the Grape Guy. And he has a record. It was 50, he and his brother do it. His brother throws, and he catches the grapes in his mouth, 55, in a minute. So we saw it, and we started practicing, and Bipin is like really good. He's very accurate, and I got better at catching in my mouth. So we broke the record in Malaysia. We did, what did we do, 68. And then you know, we kind of got inspired for Guru's birthday. We figured maybe we could get close to 75. We didn't think we could do it. And so we were practicing for just about a month. And just that day, like, Bipin was amazing. He was just throwing like perfectly. We got 77 in 1 minute. There's one other record that Bipin has, which most people probably don't know about, but there was this record called Fireman's Carry, and it's very, very uncomfortable. It's where you carry a person the same weight as yourself. So I weigh about 170 pounds. Bipin weighs around 170. He actually had to wear a weight vest to get up to equal weight. And it's carrying a person in a fireman's carry for a mile in the fastest time. And so it's very difficult for the carrier. I'm the carrier because there's a lot of weight, and you have to, you kind of try to jog with the person. This is my dad. And I really appreciate my dad because he's really brilliant mentally. And I think, he's, when I first, became interested in spirituality, he was pretty shocked. And, he took a very mental approach. And we had some very rough patches in the beginning. And as Guru narrated, my dad was in the library of the Puerto Rican Center, and he saw this God's Orchestra book where Guru said lawyers are liars. And my father was furious, and he really wanted to sue Guru. But but because my dad has, besides having a really brilliant mind, my dad also has a huge heart, and his heart overpowered his mind, and it was it took a while. We had some battles. I remember we battled it out in Guru's stationery one time, and I kind of stuck to my guns and said, my father said, okay, I'm not supporting it anymore. I said, okay, fine, and then Dad said, I really admire you for standing up to me. And but in the end, his heart overpowered his mind, and Dad came to an art exhibit. He had a famous client named Robert Scull, who was an art collector. There was a big divorce case, and Robert Scull was an art collector, and he ran a chain of taxi cabs. But anyway. My dad came with Robert Scull to a gallery. It was amazing because then, Guru called Dad my brother, and Dad called Guru his brother, and it was just like incredible. And it just got better and better. And Dad started sending Guru fruits every month, and then it went from the point of Dad wanting to sue Guru to Dad sponsoring a meditation at the Bar Association in New York City. And Dad invited, his friends, his lawyers, and as Guru said, my dad gave a very eloquent introduction to Guru. So, I'm very, very grateful to, be born into this family, and, to be with Guru, of course, and to have a dad who's so understanding. And I'm, very happy that this moment has finally come and Guru can lift my dad.
I am unprepared to make any extensive remarks, so my time will not be more than an hour and a half. We did not expect to be here. This was all coincidental. We were going to have lunch with Ashrita and then take off for New Jersey, where we're staying with friends for the next few days before we return to California. But as a lawyer, I would be misleading you if I said I am overwhelmed and speechless. I am overwhelmed, but not speechless. While sitting and listening to the Guru and the choral group and thinking of how great an honor was being afforded to me, I was thinking that it would be appropriate for me to make some response, and I was thinking of what I could say, maybe an anecdote, a joke, something appropriate. And then there came to mind an incident this Saturday night, day before yesterday, which is a repetition of something that's occurred literally hundreds of times. And I could tell you this actual happening because my heart is touched today, and this incident also elicited a response from the heart. Obviously, at every opportunity, I turn a conversation to the matter of Guinness World Records. We could be talking about the danger to a certain animal in the wilderness, and somehow I convert it into talking about Guinness World Records and bring up the matter of my son, the world Guinness record holder. For Saturday night, we were in East Hampton, Long Island. That's why we came east from California to attend my stepdaughter's wedding. And there were many dignitaries there from the television field, particularly because she is the New York bureau chief for Entertainment Tonight. I'm sure you've heard about that. And there was Meredith Vieira, I think, from The View, now going to take Katie Couric's place in the morning show. And Michael Gelman, the producer of the Regis Philbin show, and so on. So one of these people got into conversation with me, and as I said, I turned it around to Guinness records, and inevitably the same thing happened Saturday night as in so many times before. The question is, well, are you satisfied that your son is doing something you're happy to see him doing? I mean, as Keith Ashrita said, it was difficult originally for me to accept the idea that my son was not going to follow in my footsteps. Not that he had to be a lawyer, but he had a natural predilection. I can remember vividly at the age of 11, I would be talking about a case with him in litigation, and he would ask questions going right to the heart of the matter. He had a definite natural talent. Well, people expect that he would follow in my path. They know I've had a really diverse and quite successful career. And wouldn't I be happy if he was a lawyer, or maybe a stockbroker, or maybe whatever? And initially, it was hard for me to answer that. But now it is very easy. And what I say, and I said Saturday night, and I've said, as I mentioned a couple of hundred times before, is this. How can I argue with a life that is pure and spiritual, clean? How can I be unhappy when my son is fulfilled, living his dream? Because after all, it's his life, not mine. He should live his own life. And he is fulfilled. And his life is fascinating to him. And it's a good life. And finally, and most important, and this I always mention, he is happy. And Judy has said, he is the happiest person I've ever met. So as a parent, what more could I want? My son, who is dearly beloved to me, as you can imagine, from the day he was born, he has been my heart's treasure. My son is happy. He's fulfilled. He's living a rich, diverse, clean, good, spiritual life. He's following a leader who himself is the essence of spirituality and goodness and compassion. So he's happy, I'm happy. So my dear spiritual brother, and I don't use that term lightly, as I'm sure you know, it is such a happy coincidence that this took place the day after your birthday, and unplanned. And I am delighted to be here because it affords me the opportunity to wish you, for yourself and even more importantly, for all the people you inspire around the world, many, many more years of good health and happiness and a full life. The world needs you, and I hope you're with us many, many more years. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. For you our heart's gratitude due. For you our heart's gratitude due. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Your kindness, oneness, glow. Your kindness, oneness, glow, brightens your glories, glow, brightens your glories, glow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I completed in Japan 13,000 songs. 13,000 songs in Bengali. And my students here, they can attend, some singers can anytime can sing 300, 400 songs. And these 13,000 songs, I wrote the words and I composed, I set to music and I taught them. In America and various parts of the world, wherever you go, so they know 13,000 songs my students have learned from me. Some here, some in England, France, and other places study. But did I ever dream of 13,000 songs? No, never. It's far beyond me. Only perhaps I have pleased God in His own way. So my desire was 200, but He says, you beggar, you should. So instead of 200, 13,000 songs. Yes, yeah. And so if it can please God in His own way, He remembers our desires more than we forget completely, because we know we have so many brothers, so many sisters all over the world. We have established our oneness, real oneness, inseparable oneness, and we must feel that we are complete. God the Creator, God the creation, we are God the creation. God the Creator has given us the capacity to be of service to humankind. So we live together with the same philosophy. Love God in God's own way. This is our simple philosophy. And then if you can please God, then He fulfills all our long forgotten desires, when even the desire only achieving. But again, we know our only desire is to please God in His own way, not always that the inner voice will tell us what is good, what is wrong. The inner voice will never make any mistake. And the inner voice will tell us when you pray and meditate, when you pray like this, we go up. At that time we feel like this. God is listening to us, whatever we have said. But again, we pray to God to make us mind pure, to give us a big heart and all this. Pray, this is our prayer, to fulfill Him. Then again we meditate like this. At that time we are talking to God, whatever we need from Him. Then when we meditate like this, we feel that God is talking to us. He is entering into us and He is saying, you can't do this, you should do this, you should. He advises us. When we pray, we talk to God. When we meditate, God talks to us. How to become His good children. So we talk to God when we pray, when we meditate, He comes and talks to us what we should do and what we should not do. This is. Now, my students will sing in the song number 13,000, which I composed recently in Japan.
janma dum dum dum. Chatrala 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 chatragam. Chatrala 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 chatragam. Prayana reshana nayana abiram. Prayana reshana nayana abiram. Amarata Bangladesh, Bangladesh, Bangladesh. Amarata Bangladesh, Bangladesh, Bangladesh. Sneher banya, Naijeshesh, Naijeshesh, Shesh. Sneher banya, Naijeshesh, Naijeshesh, Shesh. Bharat Mata Aye Tami Tami Tami. Shakpura Shakpura Purva Shakpura Gram. Amar Janma Dam Dam Dam. Chatrala 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 Chatragam. Prayana Reshana Nayana Abiram. Amamata Bangladesh, Bangladesh, Bangladesh. Sneher banya, Naijeshesh, Naijeshesh, Shesh. Bharat Mata Aye Tami Tami Tami. Shakpura Shakpura Purva Shakpura Gram. Shakpura Shakpura Purva Shakpura Gram.
Person of the country.
Czech Republic. England. America.
Germany,
Austria,
Australia, Moldova, France, Canada, Slovakia, Russia,
Algeria,
Macedonia,
Hungary, Spain,
Serbia,
Iceland,
Cook Islands,
Greece,
Nepal,
Scotland, Brazil,
Mexico, Kyrgyzstan,
South Africa.
This is our small country. Here is a proof. I was born in East Bengal in a tiny village, smaller than the smallest village. And this is God's grace. One. This is our sweet family. We have a few more countries who have joined our way of life. We say there is only one religion, love of God. I was born as a Hindu, but I am not come here to proclaim Hinduism. My only religion is love of God. This is what I have been teaching my students. Love God. This is the only religion. So they come from various backgrounds, but we have only one way to arrive at God's door. It is by thinking, practicing, not only by practicing one thing, love of God. By virtue of our prayers and meditations, we try to please God in His own way. In our own ways, we have tried for centuries long. We have had many more incarnations. We try to fulfill our desire. There is this hunger we can never satisfy. The way of desire, it is endless, endless, endless. Again, the way of, we use the term aspiration. Only love God in His own way. Love, devotion, surrender. What we heard, let Thy will be done. Ours is the same. We pray to God to fulfill Him in His own way, not our way. When He fulfills our desires from one house to two houses, then there comes a time. We are never fully satisfied. Then we suffer from the bite of egos and jealousy and all kinds of things. We think we are very great. Next moment, when you turn, somebody is greater. Then we say somebody is greatest, like this. So when you enter into the world of competition, we suffer. But when we enter into the world of oneness, we do not suffer. When I was in the sports world, my hero was Jesse Owens. I was in India, and Jesse Owens, immortal Jesse Owens. Then when I came to America, I found one person to be my real hero. It was President Gorbachev. How many good things he has done in his life. So I became, out of his infinite kindness, he made me his friend. He wrote me a blessingful letter with regard to my 13,000 songs. And I have received from him over the years 100 letters. 100 letters from President Gorbachev. And 22 interviews. Half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour and 20 times interviews, plus messages, verbal messages, over 200. This is President Gorbachev. So kind to me, over 100 letters I have received from him, 22 interviews and all. So kind, so compassionate. Here, when he is with me, no politics. We go far beyond the domain of politics. we speak, we meditate, we speak only our how we can change, how we can, by virtue of goodwill, peace and patience and meditation, how we can raise the standard of humanity. Politicians I like because they have a heart, like no human being can be without heart. But politicians, when they attend to politics, we find it difficult to appreciate them. But we are all God's children. God has made them politicians. Since they're God's children, there is heart inside each other. So we said that. So here he never discussed with me politics, not even once. Only how we can be service, how we can serve the world with our goodwill, good wishes, goodwill. So that is why it is possible for me to have with him, from him, 100 letters, 22 interviews and all. No politics, only goodwill, how we can raise the standard of mankind. This is. Now I'm ending with a funny story. You have so kindly blessed our museum. Once we held an exhibit in Manhattan. His Gorbachev's wife came to inaugurate it. Gorbachev's wife met him. Only tears and tears in her eyes whenever she. About 10 years ago, on the 13th of April, when I came to America, 1964, she and her husband phoned me up. Husband cannot speak English, so there is an interpreter, and then she could speak English well. She said to me, Sri Chinmoy, not every day, not every hour, not every minute, but every second, I send you my love and gratitude. And we have taped, he spoke to us. So anyway, she came. We wanted to give her a present, one of the paintings. She chose the number 100,000, the one that is 100,000 number, she chose it. And it was in quite a few magazines. We saw the painting. And forgive me last, bird, I have done over 15 million birds, 15 million, nearing now 16 million birds running over there. Each bird signifies freedom. Each bird has inspired me so much. So about this funny incident, President Pramodasa, the president of Sri Lanka, we became true brothers instead of friends. We were very fond of each other. So he had a museum. He invited me to come. I went there. At the door, the reception, there, what do you call, comments or some book to sign the opinion and So he stopped me. He did not allow me to go inside. He says, say something nice. I said, I'm not inside I'm not seen anything. He said, no, say something nice first. Then he allowed me to enter into his museum, Shucharu, this kind of thing. I could not enter into the museum. He made me write something nice about the museum. So all from my imagination I said, and he's so kind to me. This is President Pramodasa. Cordial wishes for your 75th birthday jubilee. Over these years you have done and continue to do a great deal to preserve peace on earth for people in most remote corners of our planet. You have trained many disciples who come to the help of all those who need it. I am confident that today, on this important day of your jubilee, You will receive a lot of birthday greetings from your numerous friends from around the globe. I join in advance in all those warm words and good wishes that you will hear today. From the bottom of my heart, I wish you good health, strength, so you can carry out all your plans. I also wish you a festive mood and all the best. Irina, his daughter, Christina, Shania and Natasha, the granddaughters. Irina, Shania and Nastya, join me. I embrace you. Signed, Mr. Gorbachev. Give me the last one. This is the last but 199 letter. This is the number 100. 100 letter. Dear Sri Chinmoy, dear friend, thank you for the letter from Japan informing me that you had just completed composing your 13,000 songs, the culmination of your 42-year work. Your creativity as well as your peacemaking activities have always impressed me very much. Your poems, paintings, musical compositions serve people independent of the social status, nationality and age. I like your songs very much. Of course, I was not able to become acquainted with all the 13,000 of the flower hearts, as you call them. But I am sure that in any of your 13,000 songs, it is impossible to find a single line which would not appeal to people for love, peace, friendship, and cooperation. I wish that you will continue to give joy to all of us with your creative achievements. I embrace you. Michael Gorbachev. I must not intrude upon your time anymore. 15 minutes, you say, then your impossible brother has taken more than 2 hours. Please.